Dean had been gone 22 days when my mother set his keys on the picnic table like they were nothing. Just set them down, right next to the potato salad and the sweet tea, and the paper plates with the little red checkered border. Like they were a spare set nobody needed. Like they didn't belong to the last thing in this world that still smelled like him. "Travis is going to be taking the truck," she said. Not a question. Not even really directed at me. Said to the general air of the backyard the way you announce the weather. I was sitting in a folding chair with a plate I hadn't touched and grief that had made a permanent home somewhere behind my sternum. I looked at the keys. The keychain was a small brass compass Dean had bought at a flea market in Gatlinburg on our second anniversary because he said I always needed to know where I was going. I had given it to him so he'd always find his way home. "What?" I said. "He needs it more than you do, Maren." My mother poured herself more sweet tea without looking at me. "You work 5 minutes from the house. Travis has got the new construction job out past Cookville. That's 40 miles one way. Across the yard." My brother Travis was already grinning. He was 35 years old, and he was grinning the way he always grins when he's gotten something, not with gratitude, just with satisfaction. The satisfaction of a man who has never once had to fight for what he received because there was always someone else willing to hand it over first. "It's just a truck," Travis said. Those 4 words. I will hear them for the rest of my life. Dean spent 3 years restoring that truck. A 1967 Ford F-100 original bench seat, the kind of blue that shifts to almost silver in certain light. He found it rusting in a field outside of Murfreesboro and spent 3 years returning it to something he called exactly right. Weekend evenings in our garage, while I sat on an overturned bucket with his coffee, neither of us talking, just existing in the same space while the radio played. The last night before he died, he was out there past 11. I leaned in the doorway and told him to come to bed. He looked at me over his shoulder and said, "Nobody touches this truck but you. You know that, right?" I said I knew. I went inside. I never saw him standing in that garage again. He had a heart attack at 41. Healthy, strong, laughing at dinner, and gone before midnight. That's the part that still doesn't fit anywhere in my understanding of the world. It just sits there unprocessed, like something too large to move. 22 days later, my family was having a cookout in my parents' backyard, and my mother was setting his keys on a picnic table. If your family has ever treated your grief like an inconvenience, drop where you're watching from in the comments. You're not alone in this. "The truck is in my name," I said. Quiet. I was very calm when I said it, which surprised me. "Well, you can sign it over," my mother said. "It's the right thing to do. Travis has a family to support. I have a family. I had a husband." Maren. Her voice went to that particular register, the one she uses when she thinks I'm being dramatic and wants me to understand that without actually saying it. "Dean is gone. That truck just sitting in your driveway isn't going to bring him back." Travis was scrolling his phone. Already, like we were discussing something settled. "I saw you posted pictures of it," I said to him. "On Facebook. Already." He looked up. Not embarrassed. Not even slightly. Just showing some friends. "Good-looking truck. You posted it from our driveway, Travis. Our house. 3 days after the funeral." "Maren, stop," my mother said. "Stop what? Making this into something ugly. Your brother needs a vehicle that can handle a work site. That's practical. That's family." My father was at the grill. He had not turned around once. I had watched him not turn around for the last 10 minutes, and I understood that this was also a choice. The choice to be somewhere else inside himself while this happened, the way he had been somewhere else inside himself for most of my life when the thing happening was difficult. I looked at the keys on the table. The brass compass. North, south, east, west. Always find your way home. "Okay," I said. I picked up my plate, which I still hadn't touched, and I carried it inside and set it on my mother's kitchen counter. I washed my hands at the sink, and I dried them on the dish towel that had little embroidered roosters on it that I'd always privately found ridiculous. I stood there for a moment looking out the kitchen window at my parents' backyard, at the folding chairs and the cousins who'd been carefully looking away from the conversation, at Travis already walking toward the truck in the driveway with the keys in his hand. Then I got my phone out of my pocket and I called the Hartwell County Sheriff's Department. He thought I'd stay quiet like always. He forgot one thing. That truck was still registered in my name. I stood on my parents' front porch and told the dispatcher I needed to report a theft. A 1967 Ford F-100 blue. License plate I gave from memory. I'd watched Dean wash that truck every Saturday for 3 years and knew every number the way I know my birthday. Taken without my consent. My name, their address. I'd wait. Someone would be there in 20 minutes. I went back to the picnic table and sat down and drank my sweet tea. Nobody knew. The cousins talked about something else. My mother refilled the chip bowl. Travis had the truck running and was revving it once, pleased with himself. My father stayed at the grill. I sat there for 18 minutes. Then the red and blue lights came around the corner. Deputy Lena Brooks was the one who got out of the cruiser. I had seen her before. She attended the same church my parents used to go to back when we all went together, which felt like a different life. She was calm in the way of someone who has been to a lot of difficult places and learned not to arrive agitated. Travis saw the lights from the driveway and laughed. He actually laughed. "What is that?" he said. He looked at me. "Maren, did you, seriously?" "I reported my property stolen," I said. "It's a family dispute," my mother said loudly, walking toward Deputy Brooks. "This is a family matter. My daughter is upset about her husband passing, and she's not thinking clearly." Deputy Brooks said, politely and without any particular change of expression, "Ma'am, I need to speak with both parties." Then she looked at me. "You called in a report?" "Yes," I said. "That truck is registered in my name. It was taken without my consent." "It wasn't taken," my mother said. "We're family. She knows Travis has it." "Ma'am," Deputy Brooks said again, same tone, same patience. She looked at Travis. "Sir, can I see the registration for this vehicle?" Travis opened his mouth, closed it. He had that look people get when something they thought was simple has revealed a set of stairs going down into a place they didn't know was there. I just got it. From the family. Registration. "I don't have it on me." Deputy Brooks looked at me. I opened my purse and handed her the registration. Dean had transferred everything into my name 2 years earlier after watching what happened to his mother's finances when his father passed. He'd been methodical about it. I had signed things without fully understanding why, and he'd said, "You never know, better to be clean about it." Deputy Brooks looked at the registration, then at Travis. "Sir, can you tell me how you came to have possession of this vehicle?" "My family gave it to me." "Is your name on the title?" Silence. Travis looked at my mother. My mother looked at my father, who had finally turned from the grill, spatula in hand, looking like a man who wished he were anywhere else on earth. "No," Travis said. "But she was going to sign it over." "Were you?" Deputy Brooks looked at me. "No," I said. My mother made a sound. Not words, just the sound of someone watching something they'd arranged very carefully come apart. Travis tried one more time. "This is ridiculous. She's my sister. This is a family disagreement." Deputy Brooks said, very evenly, "Sir, legally, this vehicle belongs to Maren Whitlock. If she has reported it taken without her consent, I'm required to treat this as a theft report. Do you understand what I'm telling you?" The grin was gone. All of it, completely, like a light switch. What was underneath it was something smaller and younger, and much less certain of itself. I should tell you about the glove compartment. I found it that evening when I drove the truck home. Deputy Brooks had made clear Travis could not take it without my consent, and sat in our driveway before I could make myself go inside. I opened the glove compartment without knowing why. Habit. Looking for something to hold. There was an envelope inside. My name on the front in Dean's handwriting. He wrote 3 paragraphs. I'm not going to share all of it because some things are only for me. But one part he wrote was, "If anybody ever tries to take this truck from you, and I hope to God they don't, but I know how families can be, don't you let them guilt you. Don't let them use my name to take what's ours. You fought for this life same as me." He had dated it 14 months before he died. I held that letter in his truck and cried the way I hadn't let myself yet. Not the controlled grief of a funeral, the real kind, from the bottom of you, no apology. He had put it there the same way he'd transferred everything into my name. Quietly. Practically. Love isn't only a feeling. Sometimes it's a document. Sometimes it's a compass. Subscribe if you believe the people we lose can still protect us, even after they're gone. Travis was not arrested that night. True stories aren't always neat. He was served a formal notice. The report was on record, and he spent the following 3 weeks having conversations with a lawyer that cost him more than he wanted to spend. My mother called 6 times. I answered twice. The first time she cried and said I'd humiliated the family. The second time she was quieter and said she was sorry, the first time I can remember her saying that to me about anything. I told her I appreciated it, and I meant it, but appreciation isn't the same as forgetting. My father came to the house, stood on my porch in his good boots, didn't say much, looked at the truck and looked at me and said, "Dean would have done the same thing." I don't know if that was comfort or concession. I thanked him for coming. Word traveled the way it does in small Tennessee towns, without effort, everywhere at once. I didn't spread anything. I didn't have to. About 2 months after, on a Saturday in October, I took the truck out alone. No destination. Back roads, windows down, a Vince Gill song Dean used to sing along to badly and joyfully. The bench seat was exactly where he always kept it. I didn't move it. I drove until the sky over the tree line went orange and pink and then deep blue. I pulled over at a gravel turnout and sat with the engine off. I thought about Dean in the garage late nights, restoring something someone else had given up on. About him setting that letter in the glove compartment and closing it. About 22 days of grief my family had tried to manage like a problem, and about who I had let myself become over years of staying quiet and telling myself it wasn't worth the fight. Dean knew. He always knew. He put it in writing. Don't let them use my name to take what's ours. I started the truck, and I drove home in the dark. The compass on the keychain swung gently every time I turned. North, south, east, west. I knew exactly where I was going. They gave her grief and called it family. They gave her silence and called it peace. She gave them the truth. And she finally stopped letting them decide what she deserved.